And like a 1 minute elevator pitch. Who are you and what do you do and what does your company do?
Yeah, so my name's Cole Hicks. I'm a technology specialist and co-founder of AO Gentech. So we're a custom software solution company. We're full stack, so we do everything from the design, architecture, and development of digital software projects. Um, I, started as a programmer and then, you know, had a little short freelance career, and then over that freelance career, I realized that I wanted to start an actual company.
Is it a chill Saturday or work Saturday?
Probably more work than well, probably a little bit of both.
Nice.
Uh, I've got something I got to deliver by Monday, so I got to make sure that that's going to be done by then. And as long as that is on track, then probably won't have too much work to do.
Nice. And
So
you're in Miami, right?
yeah,
I mean, you big water. You in the water a lot?
am I in the water a lot? Like, you mean because of the flooding?
Oh no, just like do you like to swim, surf, or anything?
Oh. I haven't like I grew up in Santa Cruz until I moved to Washington, and Santa Cruz is like a big skating and surfing place, and so like growing up, I did that stuff, but I haven't done it since then, um, and I haven't really gotten into too much like here. Honestly, I've been working most of my time here, so I don't. I'm not necessarily good about having hobbies, you know. Um, so yeah.
Entrepreneurship, I feel like, is kind of like a hobby, you know. So not really a hobby, but it's like it just takes up so much of your time. It's like your work and it's like your play, in a way, you know. Obviously, it's it's a lot of work, but entrepreneurs
Yeah.
seem to like to
No,
be entrepreneurs.
I agree. I feel like it's I mean, there's definitely a playful part of being, a business owner or entrepreneur. I mean, getting out and meeting people and, typically when you meet other entrepreneurs or just people that are in the workforce, a lot of them like to go out and drink and party and whatever else. So, there's a fun aspect to it as well. Um, and it does take up a lot of the time. I mean, I don't really do that as much anymore as I used to. I used to go out and party with clients all the time, and now I kind of stay in more. But I've never been a big partier in general, so
Yeah, I had to tone down. I don't party much now. I can't even drink now, actually. Like, if I go
really,
out, yeah, dude, I went to Dallas for work this week. I was in Dallas Sunday through Wednesday, and Monday night I drank with some of my coworkers, and I was in pain up until like Thursday. I don't know what happened. I just cannot hang. I don't party really at all anymore. I
how
think
old
I
are you now?
22.
Jesus, you're younger than me.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what it is. I'm in pain. I can't even hang. Like
You
Rachel.
know what though? It's like I know what you're talking about because it seems like everything hits me 10 times harder the older I get.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. And we are
yeah,
young. It's funny. We are young. Like I
I
was telling my
know.
coworkers, they're like, "You should be fine." I was like, "I can't
No, right?
anymore." But I started at like 16, 15, and I don't think it's too young. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a good age to start, but I think a lot of kids start drinking at like 16. So I don't know, man. My liver just feels worn out.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't drink a lot like in high school or do any sort of anything when I was young. I was like I don't want to say I was like a goody two shoes because I definitely wasn't that, but I was like I don't know. I think it's always just been like whatever I'm focused on, that's all I care about. Like all the recreational stuff, I kind of, you know, let go. Um and don't really get involved in it. But yeah, I mean, like I said the other day when we were talking, if I could go back and tell like the younger version of me, I'd say go have some more fun. Like don't be so caught up in the shit that you're, you know, visualizing or whatever. I spent a lot of time in my head as a kid, like visualizing what I wanted. And I mean, yeah, there's like, a good aspect to that, but also you have to be in the present as to what's going on. You know, you can't be constantly living in the future, or you're never going to,
Never
one, you're
gonna
never
live
going
at
to
all,
accomplish.
really.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're never going to live, and you're never really going to accomplish what you're visualizing. So, um, that's what yeah, that, and just to kind of go back to what we talked about the other day, that's what I would say.
All right, and to give some context, because we got to talk about it last time, but for the viewers, we recorded a podcast, but then I just messed up with the recording, so we're doing a part two. And like a 1 minute elevator pitch. Who are you, and what do you do, and what does your company do?
Yeah. So my name's Cole Hicks. I'm a technology specialist and co-founder of AO Gentech. So we're a custom software solution company. We're full stack, so we do everything from the design, architecture, and development of digital software projects. Um, I, started as a programmer, and then, you know, had a little short freelance career, and then over that freelance career, I realized that I wanted to start an actual company. And so I started the company, or co-founded the company, AO Gentech, and now we are getting ready to hit year 5. So it's been a good journey, and just continuing to strive forward and move forward. So
Nice. Well, welcome to the Terran Show, Cole. Um,
thank you, thanks
yeah,
for having me.
of course. What's your most common solution?
When it comes to like what we develop,
Yeah.
yeah. So typically, most of our clients thus far have been mobile apps, websites, and web apps. Um, that's been a lot of what I guess, we focus on, just because there's probably the highest demand for that right now. There's been some other smaller stuff that we've done over the years, like software migrations and, some sort of custom corporate solution that they need for their internal services. We've done that kind of thing as well, but mainly it's mobile apps and web apps is what we focus on and what people come to us for.
Nice. And what type of? I assume you're working with all type of clients, but is there an industry that um, you work with the most?
Yeah, so not not typically an industry, but we work mostly with corporations and pretty explosive startups, kind of like our niche. Well-established companies and well-funded companies are more of who we work with. Um, but yeah, as far as a specific industry goes, it varies. We've worked with everyone from the automotive industry to gas and oil to restaurants. It just the financial service industry, like we've been everywhere. We're actually going to be getting into the military here pretty soon. We're working on some security clearance stuff so we can access the government's database and help them with some projects as well. So it's really all over the place, because software is such a broad market. Um, it's really it's really not tied down to one industry.
And you spent time as you did tech sales for a little bit, right?
Yeah, for a very, very short amount of time.
Are you guys doing something at your company that's like tech sales, like outbound tech sales? Or how do you get most of your clients?
Yeah, so a lot of our clients actually come from referrals. Once you get into the corporate game, you do work for some sort of large corporation. They tell so and then so and so tells and then your name gets passed around in kind of that corporate world, and you get a lot of referrals. I would say that probably 70 to 80% of my business comes from referrals, just of me doing work for somebody else, them loving it, and then they tell another corporation or another company about what we do or how we did it. And, yeah, that's a big proponent of how we get our clients. But then we also do lead generation as well. So for people that aren't familiar with lead generation or what leads are, it's basically getting targeted prospects to people that want your services, and then reaching out to them and following up and basically, bringing them through the sales process to sell them on whatever your product or service is. So we do both of those things. Obviously, it's a little bit different now for us than what it was when we started. When we started, it was really just a lot of like reaching out to everyone, and, spending hours on, different job sites and LinkedIn, and, just trying to find people that are interested in whatever your product or service is, and calling them, emailing them, and, the whole works.
Another
So,
game. Another
yeah,
game.
exactly. So that's how usually you start off, and that's not a super fun process, but you got to do what you got to do, right?
It's true. And you have how many employees right now?
So we have 12 internal employees, and then we keep a lot of people on contract.
Are you guys
So depending, oh, go ahead.
uh, are you guys looking to grow the? I mean, to cut you off, but you have some people on contract that you use, like depending on projects.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit last time. But are you looking to grow that group of 12 of people that are in there full time?
Yeah, we are. Part of our next year goal, or our 2023 year goal, is to start filling some of our positions. We only have two corporate heads right now, so basically him and I are in charge of everything, decision making wise, and production wise, and it's a lot for two people to handle. So, in 2023, we're going to be filling those roles, bringing on more people that can help us run the company, just because we're growing pretty quickly. And, we're not at a point right now where we can kind of put everything aside and start hiring people, just because we got to deliver on what we have. But once we get through, this next phase, then we're going to be filling in our spots. And we are going to be hiring a sales force soon. So that is going to be a pretty large job opening as well at our company.
Oh, like a sales team, or like
hmm Yeah, so we'll be hiring salespeople to push our products. We're coming out with a few products in the beginning of 2023, and then we'll also, still be offering our custom solution service. So we'll be hiring sales reps to, sell all that stuff for us.
gotcha. Well, I know a few if you're
Yeah,
looking for any in the tech
sounds good.
space. But what do
Yeah,
you look
well,
for? Or did you have something?
oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, well, definitely let me know it if they're already in the tech space, and that definitely helps.
My LinkedIn is all just tech salespeople, so
Good, good, good.
maybe you get
Yeah,
some from this. What do you look for though? I have a few because there's a few different people at your company. It sounds like one you already have of those 12. Most of them are development team. I'm assuming.
yeah. A lot of them are developers. We've got a couple sales guys, but most of them are engineers, developers.
Okay, so this is going to be a multifaceted question, but we'll just go like one at a time. I'm
Okay.
curious about what you look for when you look for these roles. So there's the developer role, there's the sales role, and then over this next year, you haven't really done it yet, but you're going to bring in some of those executive, like operations type people. And I'm curious how you
Yep.
guys are going to end up looking for them, but we'll just take it one step at a time. When it comes to the developer role, you have some already. What do you, maybe your partner, just your company, look for when it comes to developers?
Yeah. So in the development role, something that I definitely look for is, well, I could actually group together. We could say the project management and develop, because it's kind of similar in what I look for. So whatever you're doing when you're working on one of our digital products, I'm always looking for people that are okay with thinking outside the box and pushing the envelope. I'm not looking for people that are just gonna say, hey, this already exists this way, and this is the only way we can do it. No, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it the best way possible. And if that way has not been created yet, then that's what we want to do. We want to create that solution that's better than what currently exists. Yeah, it might be easier to develop what currently exists, but that's not innovating. So I'm always looking for innovative minds, people that, want to push the boundaries and the barriers of what already exists and create better technology. We follow we follow and preach an acronym called CANI. It's CANI. It's constant and never-ending improvement. It's actually coined by the Japanese, and it's basically like taking what's already on the market and being like, okay, this app, and this app all have these different features that are really good, but they don't all have them. They have like one app has something good, and then the rest of it sucks, and then the other app has something good or two things that are good. So it's taking everything that's good from all these other apps and then putting it into one. And so that's definitely what I look for is, how can we take what's already good and make it better?
So how does a candidate show that to you? That canny part, but also the first part about just being different.
Yeah. So typically I give them a small project to work on. That's why, a lot of times I have people on contract first because I want to see what they're capable of. I don't want to just jump right into giving them a permanent position. So I give them something small, and it's a little bit of a test. Like, hey, this project is a little bit smaller, and I want to see what you can do, and we'll see where it goes from there. And if they impress me with their work ethic or with their innovative ideas, then that's really what I look for, and that means a lot to us. So.
And last question on this role, and then we'll get to the sales rep, and then like maybe what you're looking for the executive. Just tips overall for someone that's already in development. You've just worked with a lot of people. You have contractors, you have employees, you have clients. So just a quick tip for a developer that wants to be successful in the space.
Yeah, just continue to learn, continue to innovate. One thing that's great about our industry is that every week there's something new. Whether it's a new programming language, whether it's an update to existing programming languages or apps or whatever it is. The market is constantly changing. What people want to see in their technology is constantly changing. So stay educated on what's going on, what the market trends are. Kind of like anything, just constantly educate yourself on what's going on and stay in the know. And just because maybe 7 languages. Well, guess what? Those 7 languages are going to change. So constantly learn and keep up to date on the current status of things.
I like it.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to sales reps, and I'm in tech sales like myself, how many reps do you have at your company?
We got 4 right now.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
What made you go with those 4, or what are some good traits you see as an employer of a tech sales rep?
Yeah, so that's a little bit different just because with like the engineering and with the developer, I'm a little more open to giving people a chance and bringing in their creative ideas and stuff. With the sales reps thus far, experience has been the biggest thing that I've been looking for. Tech sales, as you know from doing it, isn't the easiest sales job. You have to be able to explain a lot of things. You have to be somewhat technical, right? So if you're going to jump into tech sales from, car sales, it's going to be totally different. There's certain aspects that are going to be the same, obviously, like the sales process, the sales rep and client relationship building part, like all that stuff is obviously the same, but you have to have some sort of technical knowledge to be able to get into tech sales. So thus far, I've been looking for people that have experience in the tech sales realm, just because I don't necessarily have the time to do all the training myself, or neither one of my partners do either. So yeah, that's really what I've been looking for in the tech sales part. But I'm also very open-minded. So someone that comes to me extremely motivated, like wanting to learn and, you know, ready to kind of jump down the journey of learning tech sales and then, you know, becoming a tech sales expert. I mean, I'm very open to that as well. So,
Did you enjoy it when you were doing it for that little stint?
um, I enjoyed the money, the money
Yeah.
part of it, but I mean, yeah, that was it was cool because it was like the most money I had ever seen at the time. So it was like, okay, well, this is cool.
when
But
when you were doing it, were you a SDR, like just prospecting the leads and generating leads, or were you full sales cycle?
I was full sales cycle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um, yeah, so
Dude, tech sale.
it was a little tough. What's that?
I was just gonna say, like full sales cycle in software and in tech, make a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So
That's what I'm trying to
it
get.
was good, and it was a good way for me to kind of get some funding because we're completely self-funded. We didn't have any sort of startup loans or anything. We had no venture capitalists. So, you know, myself and my partner were uh, able to make a decent amount of money in the tech sales realm, and then we were able to, you know, fund our own company. So
What was the biggest expense so far, like starting a company? I'm just curious.
that's a good question. I mean, the employee part is definitely a big expense. Um, yeah, I mean, I'd say the hiring people is probably the biggest expense overall that there is. I mean, there's a lot of little expenses like for a little bit, kind of like pre-COVID, we had an office space and stuff like that. Um, it all adds up really quickly.
Do you guys have
I
an
will
office
say
space
that.
now, or are you guys remote?
We do all remote right now. We'll probably eventually get another office space, but right now everyone prefers to be remote. And I'd say
Saves
probably
on a
once we
commute.
get to like, yeah, yeah. I'd say probably once we get to like 25 to 50 employees, we'll get another office space. Um, but right now, so everyone's so spread out. Like, I don't have anyone that works with me in Miami.
Oh,
Um, so you know, everyone's so spread out. Some are in New York, some are in Miami, some are in Seattle, some are in Colorado, Texas. Like, you know, they're all over the place. And some are overseas. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense at the moment. But it definitely is like my aspiration, my dream to have like a big building with my logo on it. You know, like that's what I envision and that's what I want. So we'll get there again. We'll get there when we have that, when it makes sense.
yeah,
You know,
that's dope.
yeah.
And now for the third person, we talked about the developer slash project side, the sales side. What would you describe the third role as? Like, what title would you give it? Like executive?
Yeah, probably a corporate executive. Yeah, for
What are
that,
you looking
I'm
for?
definitely, I mean, that's a very important position. That I'm looking for someone that, you know, understands the vision that we have. And the vision that we have is to, you know, change the world through technology, to leave a legacy of things behind that, you know, impact the generations coming up and, you know, leave a mark on the world. So, you know, for some people, when they hear that, they might think like, oh, you know, you're just like a super visionary, super optimist, you know, whatever. Like, that's not the kind of person I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that's like, hell yeah, let's, you know, let's fucking change the world. Like, let's, you know, build badass technology. Let's be involved with every industry, building technology for every industry. Like, someone that's motivated, somebody that really understands that vision of you know, leaving a legacy through technology. So that's you know, and then obviously there's an experience aspect to that.
That's what
But
my next question was going to
um,
be. How does the experience impact? Are you going to look for someone that has experience building up a company?
I mean, I would say that's probably like the first person I'm gonna look at on my list. But um, I'm also open to people just who are willing to learn. Like, I was actually having a conversation about this last night. Like, one of the hardest things for people to learn nowadays, or just in general, is learning how to learn. you know, like, people don't know how to teach themselves things, or, learn things. Like, there's a lot of people that go to school and they're really good at, memorizing things for the test, but then they don't actually learn anything from, whatever it was that they were studying.
What do you
And
mean?
so I need
Like, what do you
people.
want? What is a good thing to learn? Because when you say that, first thing I think of is like problem solving. So I imagine you're thinking of like these
Yeah,
people can memorize things, but they're not maybe not good at actually being given a problem and solving it their own way. But what do you mean?
right. Well, yeah. So what I'm saying is, like, and I'm not knocking on book smart people, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people that just can breeze by, like in school. They memorize what they needed for the test, they do the test, and then they forget everything. And they're not actually learning whatever the subject is that they are, studying, right? Um, and so, yeah, what I was saying is, like, learning how to learn, and actually, like you said, take the knowledge that you have, soaked up, and then apply it to something, and yeah, problem solve. Thinking outside the box, but also, incorporating the knowledge that you have, or, have learned, um, and then actually being able to apply it to something. But there's so yeah, for the corporate position, I'm just looking for people that, for one, match our vision, and then, are constantly going to innovate their knowledge as well as the company and the products that we create. So
That's dope. Thank
yeah,
you for
hopefully, hopefully I answered the question.
no, you
I didn't
did.
just ramble.
You did. And
Okay, cool.
my next question is regarding you doing your own thing because you built a company yourself and you started the company in high school. How do you find the motivation to do something different with the frame of mind like someone like myself or anyone listening that wants to do something that they believe in, maybe start their own company, maybe do whatever art they believe in, but they're kind of scared on whether or not they'll succeed or if people will support them or things of that nature? How do you find the confidence to do something yourself and believe in yourself?
Yeah, so I think that, like I was saying the other day, nobody really knows what they're doing when they start. If you talk to the greatest entrepreneurs in the world right now, um, and you were to ask them, like, did you know what you were doing when you started your company? Most of them are going to tell you, no, I had no idea. I just had to start, you know? And that's kind of how it was for me too, is it's like this whole journey has been a learning process. Um, you know, I, I learn things every day. I learn things every week, that are able to help propel me forward to where I want to be. So if you're going into whatever it is that you're going to go into, um, just start. You just got to start. Um, don't worry about if people are going to judge you, or if people are like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. So you know it was when you start, you have to just start, and you have to learn throughout the process. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that when you start out, you're not going to have all the answers for everything. And um, I think that people, you know, go through that, and it beats down on them, it beats down on them. And then they're eventually just like, I can't do this thing. I mean, and that's probably a main factor as to why people fail, is just because, instead of, like, taking their failures and thinking, okay, this didn't work, why didn't it work? And then, next time making sure they change that process. Um, they just say, oh, this is too hard, I've got to give up, I'm done, I can't do this. So it's for someone that's looking to start, it's like, be willing to travel the journey. And just because it gets hard, or because, maybe you had a sales call or whatever and you looked like an idiot, don't give up, because everybody had that first sales call and they looked like an idiot. Um, I think one of my first sales calls, I called the guy and I told him I had business for him, and really, like, it was just me kind of stuttering my words on the phone. I told him I had business for him, and then when I said, "Oh, I actually called you to see if you have business for me," he was like freaking out. He was like, "Oh, what the fuck? Like, why'd you waste my time?" And it was like a totally unnecessary reaction that he had, but yeah, it was
Yeah,
definitely
that's on
something else.
him.
Yeah, no,
I
I mean, I think his company was probably struggling, and so he probably was like kind of excited that somebody called, and
Gotcha.
then
Okay, and then it hits him
yeah,
hard. I do think it's a reflection.
right,
I have a good one. I had a call with a prospect, and I booked him for a meeting when I was working for their software company to see if our software would be a good fit, and he agreed to a meeting like a month out. And
yeah,
when it got to that point of the meeting, he was like, "Hey, I'm really busy. We're gonna have to schedule for a month out." And I was like, "Hey, we've been waiting a month already. Can we make it work this week, 15, 20 minutes, and then see where we are?" He's like, "No, I'm busy." I said, "Okay, that's fine. If it's really pressing, we can go another month out." And I sent the invite for another month out. He accepted it, but then he emailed me back again afterwards, and he was like, "Hey, I don't want to waste your time, but I just don't think I'm just going to keep pushing this. We might as well just cancel it." And I said, "Hey, with all due respect, I've been waiting a month. We've prepared for this meeting. If you don't, let's just sync for 15 to 20 minutes. If there's no interest, we'll part ways as friends." And he messaged me back and he was like, "Do you think you'll be able to get my business by threatening your friendship? I don't want you or anyone from your company calling me ever again." I was like, first of all, we're not friends. It's just a saying. But it was like completely unnecessary reaction, like you said. And it got me down
yeah,
for a good like 3 days. I was like, man, I must have messed up. I probably said
yeah,
something I shouldn't have. And I had to even show my manager. I said, "Hey, is this email like inappropriate?" And she was very nice and helped me out. And was like, "No, you were in the right." So I do think there's a big, especially in sales, there's a big, like, obviously you need to be introspective about what you say and what you do, but you're
right,
contacting other people and they will give you toxicity back, just a reflection of themselves. It's not always what you do.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, if I was in your position there, I probably would have just let him go, because if he's rescheduled twice and then calls and says, "Hey," or emails or whatever, it says, "Hey, I don't want to do this," probably not a real prospect anyway, you know?
Yeah, but I was
But
a
it's a
sales
good,
rep. I didn't want to let any meeting off the board. I was like, "This is
yeah.
my
Oh,
quota
that's
right here,
good.
buddy. I need you to show up real quick."
No, that's good.
But no, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's like,
But it was a good learning experience, right?
yeah,
And
no,
yeah,
100%.
no, and that's how it was for me too. And it also was the same, like when I would constantly hear no, 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 no. And it was like, man, like, am I doing something wrong? And it's not even, I mean, yes and no. There's times where I was doing something wrong, like I was calling and talking too much in the beginning, and they're just kind of like, why are you wasting my time? Like, you know, you just learn all that stuff, right? As you go, but you're never going to learn it if you don't do it.
100%. I
So
think that was,
that's what I would say is just you got to start doing it. You know.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah. So
Well, Cole.
that's
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, I was just saying.
Well, I know I only wanted to hold you for so much because we had to redo the podcast. I really appreciate the advice and the advice for people. I do have one last question for you, and it's a
All
very
right.
simple question, but it might be a hard question because it's simple. It's simple because it's only a one word answer, and you can't say anything else after the one word. So it doesn't
All
have to
right.
be the biggest thing or the most important thing, but what is one thing that makes you appreciate being alive?
Hmm. What is one thing that makes me appreciate being alive? Hmm. That's a hard question, man. Because it's like you can't, you have to narrow it down to one word.
It doesn't have to be everything. You don't have to put everything in one word, but just like one thing. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing. It doesn't have to encapsulate all the things, but just one thing that you say, hey, this makes me appreciate being alive.
Experiences.
Experiences.
That's the word. That's the word I give you.
I love
Yeah,
it.
man. Experiences.
Well, Cole, thank you for being on a second time, but a first time that anyone will be able to hear. Best of luck to the company. I'm excited to see it grow. And if anyone, say someone listens and they're interested in their developer or in tech sales and they're curious about learning your company, do you want me to pass the information along? Are you open to applicants or no?
Yes, definitely. Whether or not I need them for the position right now, we're growing really fast. So at some point very soon, I will probably need them. So definitely.
All right, great. I'll send them your way. Cool. Thanks for being
Awesome.
on.
Of course. Thanks for having me.